amongst the appropriate department head salaries. Anna likes to do that in the last quarter, but she's going to do it early in the last quarter because it's been somewhat confusing for this process. So you'll have an update for, I don't know if we'll have an update for your deliberations. It depends on when you vote on this. So that's what that's for.
Okay.
And that way we don't have to come looking for money. We give a raise and it's, you know.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any questions from the board on 120 contingency or any additional questions?
And that, Mr. Chairman, if I might add, if there is nothing used or half used or whatever's left in that, it just goes back into the, that's part of the money that we receive. Usually it's a big part of the money that we send back to you because there's no real other purpose for that other than.
Anna, what have we used out of operating contingencies thus far this year, out of the 145?
13.
We have a balance of about 90,000 remaining.
But you have some anticipated expenses coming out of that.
Right, we have the 68.
We still have,
right, we have the
Board of Ed,
68. We have
Fuel.
the 6,800 for the police CAD software, and then we also expect approximately 40,000 for heating, winter season heating.
Is that the town and the Board of Ed together, or?
Town only.
And the Board of Ed's coming back, but it wouldn't be coming out of this? Didn't the Board of Ed
Board of
say?
Ed has nothing to do with any of this.
Okay.
This is
Weren't
all
they
about-
talking about coming back for an appropriation on, I'm not saying from this fund, but,
They do talk like that a lot.
and you've heard it too.
No, I don't know. They may come back for a change. I don't know what they're looking for from where, but,
Okay.
you know, they have a lot of pressures put on them with the security updates and all this stuff and the teacher evaluations. A lot of mandates are coming up on them, so. In our case, we have two things that we didn't expect. One, the winter, which is the 40,000, and two, the 6,800, which the Ambulance Association has always paid and was in our budget this year for the Ambulance Association to pay, but they voted not to pay it. And they voted not to pay it basically because I'm looking at dispatch operations, so they decided not to pay it, they didn't pay it. So next year, that is in emergency management's budget, and you know, we're not expecting them to pay it. So that's why it's gotta come out of contingency, because it wasn't budgeted.
That's the item that we had on the agenda
Right.
last meeting, and
Yeah.
we tabled
Correct.
because the Board of Selectmen had not had not.
I had a chance to vote on it.
Yep.
Okay.
They are paying gas. I think they paid money toward the chief's vehicle, so they are. It's not that they've stopped contributing. They just didn't want to contribute to this police CAD program.
Thank you. Any other questions on capital? I mean, on contingency, I'm sorry. Then we'll move to 724 capital.
What? You ready for me?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
What I thought might make sense to do before we got into the capital to discuss is Chuck is a marvel at handling all of our vehicles, both new and used, and trickle down. As you know, there was some monies put in this year for paint. I'd love to show you the vehicles that we painted. It's gonna extend the life of those vehicles well beyond whatever we spent. But Chuck can give you a kind of big picture overview of where we were 5 years ago and where we are now. He does most of the buying, he does the oversight of all the maintenance, and he manages all the parts, and he also takes care of any of the excess vehicles that have to go to auction and brings that money in. So he's got a good presentation, and if we started with that, that'll kind of take care of budgets in, you know, in Park and Rec, Commission on Aging, the police cruisers, the fire marshal. I mean, you kind of get a sense for how that affects everything in terms of where the vehicles go. So
Okay.
if that's all right with you, and if it's all right with Chuck, do you have handouts or anything, or a chart or any kind? Or
gonna wing it.
How is that good?
Very good today. We got to do his dressing change again today, so he's a very happy camper, so. For those of you that don't know what we do at the garage, we do everything. We service over 100 vehicles with 2.5 mechanics, one of which is 80 years old. We service all the large dump trucks by him, the payloaders, all of that heavy equipment is done strictly by him. The younger mechanic that we have does all the police cars, the pickup trucks, some of the small equipment for all the departments in town, including 2 of the 4 Board of Ed pickup trucks. The other 2, they shop out on their own. I don't even know where they go. We basically do all the oil changes. Twice a year we do a vehicle inspection on everything, which means we bring it in, he pulls all the wheels, him and I take a walk through the vehicle. He has a checkoff sheet that's 4 pages long. He knows everything on the vehicle that needs to be fixed. We identify the things that are safety issues. We try to figure out how much money it's going to cost, and I try to work that in amongst our long-term plan of how long we're going to keep stuff. One of the things that we decided to do 5 years ago was we were being more frugal with buying vehicles and buying new vehicles specifically for people we call first responders, people that plow snow, people that have to respond to sewer emergencies or water emergencies. We quit buying new vehicles for example, the building inspector. He got a hand-me-down vehicle, and it was, if you all remember, Dick's Liberty. We took that out. We had that painted as part of that $10,000 you gave us, and it looks wonderful. He's very happy with it. Joe's vehicle that he's got that he uses in engineering, that was a hand-me-down from the police department, the Expedition. That's what he's using. We had that painted. We went through that, put a couple seat covers on it. We continue to go through that process and taking vehicles and handing them down rather than to increase the number of new vehicles we buy and using the new vehicles for the guys, well, like us that plow snow all winter. And during the winter storms, we had water and sewer, and our guys and the Board of Ed, everybody was out plowing snow. So those vehicles are important that we keep them in tip-top shape. The oldest vehicle that we currently have in a fleet as far as a dump truck goes, we hand that vehicle down to the water and sewer so they have their own dump truck and they don't have to borrow one from us at any time. That's currently got 110,000 miles on it. It will be here another year because I gave them that truck. The last truck they had kind of faltered, so we decided to give them my spare truck last year. That means that we went through this winter without a spare truck. And we had one storm where we had 2 trucks down, but we managed through some miracle and a couple of magic wands that I keep in my drawer to get all the vehicles but one back on the road for that one storm. The next couple of days we got the other truck running, so we did okay with the storms. It's with the winters we've had recently, I think it shows that the vehicles, because of the lack of breakdowns, I think it shows how this process of buying vehicles and keeping a newer fleet has paid off because we were able to keep vehicles out there. We didn't have a lot of breakdowns. We didn't have a lot of major problems. It didn't cost us a lot of money out of our operating budget, our $195,000 we get every year. But we still have to take care of all of the vehicles. We do fix everything in town for the park and rec. They do their own little vehicles. We do their pickup trucks and their small dump trucks. Of course, our guys, the sanitation crews, the water and sewer guys, the Board of Ed, 2 of their vehicles. We do the fire chiefs. Usually we do the fire chiefs' vehicles. We maintain them, and we will assist them in their purchases. We do the 2 pickup trucks, 1 at each firehouse. Usually we do the maintenance on those also. So this is a pretty busy thing for all of us to do. And every year we try to sit with the department heads. They come talk to us. They give me an idea what they want. I meet with well, now it's Joe and Paul, and we talk about the new vehicles and what we're going to buy. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? I do. Public Works Department vehicle acquisition for this coming year. A dump truck at $148,000. A pickup truck at $32,000. That's a pickup truck with a plow.
Mm-hmm.
Over-the-rail mower for $130,000. A mini excavator for $73,000. A trailer to carry the mini excavator around for $8,500. And a 3 to 5 ton roller for $20,000. Could you prioritize those for me?
The dump truck with the stainless body on it, the pickup truck with the plow and the stuff that goes on that. would-
That's, so priority one is,
Priority one, dump truck.
okay?
The pickup truck would be number 2. The roller would be number 3. The mower would be number 4.
And the excavator?
That would be 5. Now, understanding the excavator is not just for us. The excavator's listed in here because I'm the guy buying it. That was intended for us to share within the 4 departments that we'd be using, water, sewer, Parks and Rec, and ourselves. That way, especially, for example, in a water department, when they have a water main break, it would assist them in being able to dig in a narrower street and do their job more efficiently. A lot of times, having the backhoe there, if they're digging with a backhoe and they have to put stone in, they have to stop what they're doing and reposition. This would really allow a lot more usefulness in the process.
Okay. Police cruisers. And no matter how I do the math, I keep coming up saying we want $111,000 basically for the three vehicles that you want. You want a cruiser, a pickup truck that will be used as a cruiser, and a car for the detective. And then $78,750 out of CNRE to outfit these things. That comes out to be about $63K per vehicle outfitted. If I go back and look, we were probably paying in somewhere high 40s for when we were buying 2 vehicles at a time. I don't want to go back on buying 2 vehicles at a time, but I think $63,000 per vehicle is a lot of money.
You have to included in that process is also the purchase of new state police radios, because they were getting to the life expectancy of the current radios. They're not being serviced anymore. We've had, I believe it was 2 in the last year that failed, and we had to buy new radios. We had to find money to buy new radios. Anna, what was the other thing we were talking about?
I'm just gonna, while Anna's looking at that, I had a meeting with the state police district last week, and they are issuing radios probably 2 or 3 years from now. They're gonna change all of the dynamics of the radios, so it's if we had to change all the radios, it'd be $120,000 probably for us to do that, if we were staying with the state police program. I don't know about that. The radio that Chuck's gonna buy this year would be able to be used in one of those new radios. So
So
this
it's
would not be
compatible?
this would not be a wasted purchase, even if we were only with the state police program for 2 more years or whatever happens. So it's not like you're buying state police radios this year, and then if you heard, for example, they're changing the program, these are obsolete. Any new radios that we buy now will be able to be used into the new system. So, but that's something that's coming, along with the air packs we talked about.
The other thing that increases that is we're replacing their computers. They had that dash-mounted computer system that failed, and the ambulance fund gave them a bunch of computers to get them through. We no longer have any extra computers to continue to replace the older units, so we have to buy new ones. Understand that when we do these cars, we don't even buy new light bars. We redo the light bars, we put new lenses on them. One of the old cars that was last year, we're updating it with a used light bar. So we're saving $5,000 or $6,000 simply by redoing some of the lights that are on it. A lot of this has to go with wiring for the cameras, because we have the prisoner camera plus the camera that shoots to the front so that they can track what's been going on when they have their lights on, and basically installing all of this stuff. You were right, we're at about $49,000. I think the first 2 years we did this, we budgeted $42,000. I believe it ended up costing us $44,000, and we absorbed that into our part of the game. And then it increased as the cameras increased, as the computers increased. We kept increasing that money, and it is now, because of the radio system, it's increased even more.
Didn't we, Chuck, have piecemeal these cameras on, and now to the point we will have, is this the year that we've had the complete turnover to the blue, from blue to white?
No.
Or do we have one more year for
We're gonna have one more year with,
Okay.
with the,
And so we'll have how many more cameras before we have to
I
stop?
believe we're gonna need 4, if I remember correctly. Understanding, just to give you my background, I like to get these cars out of, as a fleet manager, off of patrol at 100,000 miles or less. I have other towns that I talk with this. An example is the town of Bloomfield. At 75,000 miles, that car comes up for replacement. And then they use it somewhere else in another office for a couple of years. We have 3 cars at 90,000. We have 2 cars at 100,000 right now.
Even over the last 4 years, we've bought 2 new cars a year.
Yep.
We bought 2 new cars a year almost every year since I was on.
I think it's
Maybe we
6 or
missed
7
that.
years ago, we only bought one that
Yeah.
1 year.
I think we missed.
Okay. If we, and I have been supporting that since I've been on the board, buying 2 cars a year, but this year we're asking for 3. I assume that if you had to prioritize those, the priority would be the 2 patrol vehicles, and the detective car would be somewhere down on the priority.
Right, we could take that out.
I would like to leave that up to the sergeant, up to Sergeant Blindside or San Juan to make that call.
Okay?
Okay, I think that because they are the department head, and I don't tell anybody I'm a policeman.
If
I
we,
only play one in a TV show.
If we're looking to replace the detective car because it's old, and it doesn't have all the lights and whistles according to Sergeant Blanchett that all the other cars have, I don't mean lights and whistles, I mean all the computers and et cetera. It probably does have lights and whistles.
It does have lights and sirens.
Yeah.
And it won't be going bye-bye. It'll be staying. It'll be going to the fire marshal's office.
Have we ever looked at if we want a car like that, instead of going out and buying a new one, have we looked at taking a look at a used vehicle? I buy all used vehicles because they, when I buy a new vehicle, it loses 30% as soon as I drive it away.
The price that we get for the new vehicles, you can't buy a vehicle at that price. We get such a large discount from the manufacturer that the cost of the cars is very low for us. I would never like to see us go to a situation where we're buying a used vehicle, because then we might end up someone else's problems, and we're already starting off with a vehicle that's got mileage on it. What's that going to do to us down the road?
Recognize that I wasn't talking about cruisers, I
Yep.
was strictly talking about the detective vehicle.
That would be a path that we could look at.
Okay?
His car currently has 108,000 miles on it. It was a patrol car, and we took that car and had a paint job put on it, probably much better than we got for our money for the 3 white vehicles. It was a very nice paint job. And he is looking for a new vehicle to replace that. That vehicle that he's currently using will go to the inspector at the fire marshal's office, because he's currently using my spare vehicle. I keep one spare vehicle at the shop so that when somebody's car gets in an accident or has to be serviced for a long period of time, they still have a vehicle to drive. Just one vehicle makes a huge difference when somebody at the town hall or another department needs a vehicle.
Okay. Any other questions on, I guess we're talking mostly vehicle acquisition right now?
Well, I th-
Okay. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Chuck.
Chuck.
Thank you.
Want to go to Parks and Rec portion of capital now, or where else did you want to go?
I don't know, we can do this, you have CNRE on the agenda, and you have CNRE, municipal,
Well, we haven't finished capital yet, though.
but it's on the top of capital, is what I'm saying. Is the
Okay.
first line item
Okay,
says CNRE municipal. I mean, we can kind of go down, if you want to go down that.
yeah,
Do you
well,
want to, unless you want to ask Dave what his priority list is.
we
Is
can
that-
do it.
Yes.
Is that what you'd rather do
Yeah,
first?
and then I can-
Okay.
Want to see Dave and get a priority list?
Dave, you want to, you have a couple of line items, I mean,
Dave, you're asking for a utility vehicle with top dresser for $30,000 and an overseeder for $11,000.
Correct.
Can you prioritize those two items?
Sure. The first one would be the utility vehicle with the top dresser. That'd be number one, and then the overseater attachment for the Kubota would be number two.
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you. Okay, CNRE municipal.
You wanna- Okay, you have page, doesn't have a number on it. Town of proposed capital, you have this one, this
Mhm.
page?
I need another copy. I didn't see mine.
It should be right behind that.
Okay, I got it. I got it.
You got it?
Yep.
She has it.
Okay, so the, everybody there?
Yes, sir.
Good? Good. Okay, so you have the CNRE on the capital outlays, capital equipment with the subtotal on this page.
314.
Shows 368,000 department had requested, 314,000 Board of Selectmen proposed. Right? So if you go to the top line of the next page, the top section, you had the CAD software. We've been buying every year $4,000 to upgrade the survey equipment. We're taking a pass on that this year, so we decided not to fund that. The town projects for roofs, that was at 100,000, we brought it down to 50. HVAC replacement town ride, we left that at 37,000. Sidewalk repair, we dropped down to 25,000. Town projects, maybe I was mistaken on the roofs, maybe that came in at 50, but that's always been 100. Town projects, various, we went from 100 to 75. Those are unforeseen activities that occur during the year that we need money to fix. The heat exchanger or whatever it happens to be. We had the leak in the roof. All those things you never know, so we have that situation. The reval, we kept the same based on, we will need that, what did we say today the year?
2016 is the,
It's a statistical reval in
Right.
2016, which is about, what, 280,000?
yeah, 295 or so.
295, and then the full service reval will be 5 years from that. That's usually 500,000. So we have 40,000 put aside, so in the next 7 years, we're gonna need $800,000 for reval at some point in time. And you can balance that any way you want, but you gotta pay the 275, 295 in 16, and the 495 in 21. So we have proposed 127,000 to begin funding that, for a total of 314. So that matches line item 100 on this capital outlays thing. All right, want me to go down to town CIP,
Well, let's
or do you want to talk about that?
see if there's any questions on the CNRE portion of,
Yes, what's the balance right now on your reeval? Was it 40? So this would make it, if we kept it, 167? And how about town projects, just in general, what's the balance?
$25.
And sidewalks, you reduced it by 25, but what's the balance? Hopefully something.
There's about 100 in there.
Okay. And how about the HVAC?
$17.
And roofs? I know you have to do this one.
This one's got to get done, yeah.
194.
But I think
Yeah. I need
more
that.
than half of that's going to be a above your head.
I agree. And anything for software, you took, there was 4 taken away by, reduced by the Board of Selectmen
Where are you?
on the very top, CAD software.
CAD software, survey
CAD,
equipment.
that's the surveying equipment for Bill. We gave him a fair amount over the last 2 or 3
Okay.
years, so he's willing to skip a year on this. There's
Okay.
13 in that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
None of those are encumbered.
Any other questions from the board on CNRE projects?
Yeah, I just had one, the various town projects, did that include the painting? Or was that separate, Paul? Remember the library?
No,
That's all
Down
separate.
below in the
Okay.
next.
it's on CIP. Right here, dude.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move down to town CIP.
Okay, so you see town CIP on the capital outlays page, the first page. Department head requested 151,422. Board of Selectmen proposed 88,371.
Yes,
The 88,371 matches the bottom right corner of that town CIP grouping, which starts with the folding machine, which we took out,
mhm,
13,051. The paint of the exterior of the community center at 28,771, and paint the library interior, 15,000 is 15,000. I do have an email, and I should have brought it. I have an email from Lisa Timothy. Do you have that, Joe, what the cost of the paint is for the interior? You don't, all right, that's on my computer, so it is a lesser number than that 15,000.
And
What we're gonna propose that we do on we can talk about the exterior separately, but the interior of the library is the back portion. We're just gonna buy the paint, and prisoners are gonna come in and paint that. The front portion with the high dome needs specialty service, and whether that can be just dusted, or whether it has to be dusted and painted, is probably in that email that I have to get for you, so. If you want, we can take a break after we go through this page, and I'll go get it, or I'll get it to you for deliberations, and we can come back.
You had a
Yes.
question on that, didn't you, the painting? No?
No, it was just, my question was, are we gonna have we reached an agreement that the prisoners are gonna paint the interior? And the other part of that question was, then what does that reduce that 15,000 to?
And I asked Lisa for that number, what the paint costs would be, and that would be what it would reduce it to, whatever the cost of the paints would be, plus whatever the specialty charge is for the group to go up and clean that dome. We gotta hire somebody to do that, so whether they gotta just dust it, which somebody thinks they may do, or whether they have to dust it and paint it, that would be.
But that's the 2871 that we're talking there,
I
$20,871.
don't believe so.
That's the exterior.
That's the exterior of the building.
That's the
Okay,
15,000.
The 15,000 is for the
Interior.
interior of the library
Got it.
itself.
got it.
And so I think within that 15,000 is that front dome area and the back, labor in both. So we'll take the labor out for the back, and then we'll see what happens with the front.
Okay,
And I think that if they're doing the inside, then they can probably paint the outside, depending on how high it is. I mean, there's only so many feet they can go on ladders, so there might be some peaks up there that they may not be able to do, so we're gonna have to check on that. Sprinkler system repairs at the new building up there. Fixtures in the parking lot, those are the light fixtures, people tend to back over those there. So we're gonna come up with a better solution for that. Handicap entrance, I believe that's for an electronic door opener. GIS in the planning department upgrade. The harbor management update their plan, that's been reduced down to 7,500. Dave wants 10,000 for a park and rec master plan, kind of to begin the process of moving forward now that we have Roxbury Road and some of the other parcels in town. A skateboard park was taken out, and that leaves your total of 88,371 versus a beginning total of 151,422.
The 10,000 for the master plan for Parks and Rec, is that a consulting fee to draw up a master plan?
Yeah, correct, yes.
Mr. Putnam's answer was yes for people who didn't hear him on the TV.
Any other questions on town CIP from the board? Okay, move on to town computer equipment.
The next one, we're gonna take a couple at a time. The 415 town computer, we've been doing, an annual replacement program. This is year 5, so we are getting to a point where we're catching up. So we reduced that number from 15 down to 12.5.
Is there a balance in the account on that? No? Oh. And what would be the projected computer replacements for this year? How many are you envisioning?
Bill here?
We have a schedule, and we're envisioning 18 as of right now. We try to keep them 5 years old or less. In the corporate world, they do 3, but we do 5. So we have 92 computers, and I just did the math, and that averages out to 18. So this year would put us on schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we already discussed Parks and Rec acquisition program and asked for a priority. New vehicles that are being requested for this year in addition to paying for what we've already bought is $30,000 for a utility vehicle with top dresser and $11,000 for an overseeder, and the priority was the utility vehicle and then the overseeder. Any
So
further
you know that
questions?
those two come out of the 8,600,
Yes, sir.
right?
Right.
So if you eliminated one, the 8,600 would go down, not the 11 or the 30,
Right.
right? Following that, Lisa?
No.
See the top line on the page 1 of 2, the breakdown, this here? You
Yeah,
have that?
right, I
Next
was
page.
looking at that.
So you're at P&R equipment, 67,490.
Yep,
58,880 are prior year payments of what we've obligated to, and that's the next year's payment.
mm-hmm,
If we were buying the cedar attachment for the Kubota for 11,000 and the 30,000 utility vehicle with the
Yep.
top dresser, the payments over the next 5 years would be 8610.
okay.
So if you eliminate
For 5 years.
for 5 years. So say you eliminate the 11,000.
Yep.
You're not taking
I got it.
11,000 off the budget, you're taking that portion of the 11,000 divided by 5 from the 86.
Yeah, I didn't get that the 8610 was for 5 years, and I was thinking, how does 30,000 and 11,000 equal 8610? But, times 5 years.
New math, we're going from the state now, we're starting to practice from what they do.
All right, it all adds up, so to
Okay.
speak.
So that's Park and Rec, shall we move on, sir? Or you
Sir.
Sir?
want me to move ahead, or do you want to talk about Park and Rec further?
Any other questions from the board on Parks and Rec?
No.
Town COA equipment.
That's the Commission on Aging vehicles. Remember, we had one bus that we paid for and one we got a grant.
This is the last year of $15,000 and after this year, we'll own both buses.
On them both.
So this is a payment.
This is the fifth
Okay.
year or 4th year in a payment there.
That's the last payment?
Go?
Yes,
Go?
sir.
Okay. The next one is the Niantic Fire Department equipment, 33,612. Niantic Fire Department equipment, hose replacement, 60.